Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm the Illuminated Hermit, and I wanted to go over some of the aspects going on right now. It's 2/22/2022, and the US is going through a Pluto return right now at 27 degrees of Capricorn. I also want to talk about the half return with Neptune and how Saturn is going to hit the natal moon and also go into Pisces soon. And then I'll kind of go over a little bit of how Uranus could be affecting too. With the US Pluto return, the Pluto is all about change, rebirth, transformation, kind of like a underworld where you go down and then come back up, or if you want to think of it like the phoenix is a simple example, how it comes out of the ashes and is reborn. With it being in the second house for the July 4th, 1776 chart of the US, that is representative of the economy. It's the money, the banking, the way that the economy works. So stocks, bonds, could even be cryptocurrency with everything going on right now and things changing. It's also supply chains and anything to do with making sure money and everything of possessions is moving around. With Pluto, it wants to make changes. It wants to find new ways and find a kind of new opportunities. There may be a little bit of death since Pluto is normally a Scorpio planet. So it might have some aspects to where things are just gonna start to die down or slow down. Look at the stock market. We've had some crashes a little bit with last month, and cryptocurrency also had a crash. We've had lots of advisors talking about how cryptocurrency is overinflated, how the stock market is overinflated, how everything is just overinflated. And so it's saying that we're just going to go into the reduction and really look at how we are going into new times. Now, it's not necessarily going to be a recession. The Pluto return will last for about a year with the retrograde, but we've already seen some of the aspects come in a couple years ago with the supply chains getting stuck up, and we've had issues with lots of different items and the ships being overstocked, but we don't have everything that we need on the shelves. We had issues in 2020 with panic and confusion around supplies. We've had some of that even this year. Canada is starting to have issues with that as well. So I think with all these revolutions, with all these people wanting freedom, that we're also going to have issues with our supplies, with our goods, and we also have the North Node in Taurus. So we are having these issues with food. We're having these issues with making sure we have our goods and possessions. But I think also we're possibly going to have changes within banking. 2008 was a big crash, but we bailed out the loan companies. We bailed out the banks, which had never been done before. Suddenly we're helping these organizations instead of letting anything that would fail normally in a recession, let it fail. But now we had those new bailouts. So with everything coming in, I think maybe we might have some more regulations, maybe we might have some more changes to banking as well. And really, when you look at crypto, everybody says that it's not regulated. And really, I think the government's going to look at ways of trying to regulate it, or it might crash and they might find ways to get rid of it, because I think the government really wants to keep the fiat currency, but I think they're going to find new ways of changing it. And there's always been talks of universal or one world order type of currency as well. Now we have the Neptune half return, which is opposition. And so we've seen kind of this before, and it was, I believe, back in 1857. There was lots of confusion, there's lots of panics, and they really had the Ohio Trust crash. They had all these different things crashing. It was one of the first real kind of crashes in the US. They had never seen stuff like this before. There was also a massacre in Utah during that time because they were trying to get rid of Brigham Young. So there was lots of different confusion around that time, which also led towards the Civil War, which when the Uranus return in 1860 came around, they actually had President Lincoln come into office. And then that started more different also issues with the Civil War going on. And also they did have some revolutionary ideas, such as the Pony Express, and there was lots of changes going on during that time, lots of different aspects of inventive ideas. But with Neptune, that is all about confusion, it's all about illusion, delusion, and it's in the third house, which is all about news, media. So really, I think we all know that the media has been lying to us forever. But I think there's also going to be that push for the truth because of the South Node in Scorpio. But I think there's still going to be times where we don't know what's really going on. Just with the last couple of years, we haven't known what's really going on. So I think all of that is still going to be confusing times, and there's going to be a push for truth. We've already seen lots of new news outlets, especially with the trucker convoy. There's been a push towards that truth of we want actual news. We want news on the ground that isn't cut or made to look violent, or isn't cut and made to look a different way, isn't cut to kind of push the agenda. I think there's all of that coming around, but I think there's also going to be lots of panic. That's normally going to happen around this time as well. And we've kind of seen panic buying within the last 2 years. I think that's going to continue for a little bit longer. So I think this is just going to put extra stress on the economy. I mean, the supply chain issues, even with microprocessors for cars, because they didn't buy them because they thought that they weren't going to sell a lot of cars. Then electronics bought all the microprocessors, so Ford got stuck with no microprocessors. So this whole push of just really the supply chain not working, and we're not expecting all these different panic buyings, so our shelves are going to be empty again. And really, also, it's with Saturn, too. We do have Saturn coming into conjunction with the natal moon of the US. That is in February 11, 2023. Sometimes that's when the moon representing the people is attacked or controlled, or something crazy happens. There was 1993, some terrorists from the home. That was Waco, and other items that happened during that time where we had terrorism on our own land, not from a different country. So that might happen again, or we just might have lots of issues. There was lots of flooding back in 1993 as well that did a lot of damage. So might have some crazy events in Mother Nature, but our home and people will be possibly shaken next year. And it's also as it goes into Pisces. So that is from about 2023, and I think it's for about a few years, up to, I want to say around 2026. That is when Saturn is in the normal house of Pisces, which is, when you think about it, 2 fish, Jesus. So really it's kind of that spiritual house, that area of the sign that when you put restrictions and control and boundaries into, it doesn't work very well. Sometimes it can bring good change, like deaconesses in England happen, but sometimes it brings really bad change, like wiping out lots and lots of churches in World War II during Germany ruling. So that was when Hitler decided to get rid of organized religion as much as possible before the war. And so Saturn in Pisces can bring good, but it can also bring lots of banishment. So I think with these coming years, there might be a lot of change and shifts in spirituality. There may be issues within the church. There may be reform to push Christianity into a new era. But there also might be changes to the New Age. There might be changes to any type of religion. It's not necessarily just Christianity. So the spiritual teachers will go through all these different changes and all these different aspects as well. But we also, as that pushes, get closer and closer to the Uranus return. And that's really kind of as it hits the 6th house, but it won't fully return until 2028. Now, it's the 6th house in 2024. 6th house is all about health, is all about the health of the nation and all the different aspects that make a healthy nation. Now, Uranus returns have been around World War II. It ended 1945. That was when the Uranus return was. The Uranus return was in around 1860, 1861, and that's when the Civil War kind of started up. So there might be a push for a war or ending of a war around this time. But since the last time both Uranus returns were around it, it kind of seems like there may be a push or a divide either among us at home or among us globally. So I think it's as it pushes, especially with Saturn going into Pisces, we might have a more divide. There might be a lot of issues with spirituality, and we may even have a spiritual war. But I think it's really going to push our nation to issues. And that's not to say health is also an important thing. We might have another pandemic during that time of anywhere from 2023 to 2028. So there might be a lot of disease. There might be possibility of war. There was lots of disease in 1940s with World War II, and cholera was huge from 1830 to 1866. So there's very possibility of health being an issue as well. And really, it's going to push and things are going to get better in 2032. That's when Saturn and Uranus finally conjunct. And that's when revolution really comes in, and that's when the people are finally heard. And that's when everything starts to change, and hopefully everything will be better by then. Now, I'm not saying that life's going to go to shit. I'm just saying that we are going to have issues in the US. It's not going to be easy, but we are going to have issues with the economy the next few years. We're going to have issues with religion and possibly maybe some kind of disasters or surprises at home. And then we're also going to start to have all these revolutions, but we might have more inventive ideas, because Uranus is all about wanting to come up with inventive ideas, because it's ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius is technology. So we might have a huge push in technology within the next 5 to 10 years. And we also will eventually have that more, I think, peace at home, and that's going to be closer to 2032. But for now, I will say, just be careful with your money in the stock market, be careful with crypto, just be careful with your possessions. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your family. All right. Love you guys, and please like, subscribe, and share if you love this video. All right. Bye.